judge ye not, or you will be judged. And that's a commitment I will obey. Even though sometimes I'm tempted, I keep my thoughts to myself, 'cause it's me and God on Judgment Day. But there are many a situation in the public court of opinion that face the judge and jury with or without evidence or a defense. They're bound to find you guilty. You're guilty, oh yes, you're guilty. If you sing a Kaiso song about the government, no work for you, you can't make a cent. You're guilty, oh, you're guilty. In the parliament, they just use the wrench and put you on the back bench. You're guilty, for sure, you're guilty. Whether right or wrong, it don't make a difference. You see, they mind and make up, and you get locked up, and they throw away the key. But then the case is closed, and you are guilty. Whoa, hey, even do dang day, rick rick, a dibby do bang bay, do dang day. Listen, you smoking from the child play sight, then tell me smoking isn't right. Bad examples you set in. You cuss your neighbor so and so, but if the child cuss, it's blow after blow. Not a good model of parenting. But parents, you know, I know that what you reap is what you did sow. So who should you be blaming? If it's one thing you can't deny, how you make up your bed, you lie. It's you yourself reflecting in front of your eye. Oh my, you're guilty, oh yes, you're guilty. So you accuse the child of showing you disrespect when it's you who said meant. You're guilty, for sure, you're guilty. After you spread the rod and spoil the child you upset, well it's you who should regret. You're guilty, I know, you're guilty. For too many of them, violence is their solution. Conflict resolution, they don't have none. They believe in using the gun. When all is said and done, it's cemetery or prison. Oh, yes man. Diggy diggy, bang ba diggy, diggy diggy, bang bang ba diggy. Watch this. The government is guilty too for what they did and didn't do. Even a blind man can see. They put me in heavy debts with questionable projects. That is so unfair to we. Man, they standing on we toes with all of these water woes that we have in this country. Can you tell me what's going on with the project in Port St. John? That's abandoned and bushy. You're guilty, oh, you're guilty. For the longest time sin and chewing had no water. Man, what a disaster. You're guilty, oh, you're guilty. Them excuses weak, they say they can't find the leak, but it's that propaganda. You're guilty, oh yes, you're guilty. Tell me who went and built on that land illegally with no paperwork for the property. Oh Lord have mercy. Father, hear our plea, send some hope for me. Aye, give me. Hey, did I die? Did I die? Aye. Well, I am not political, neither am I critical, but I speak on what I see. A lot of them in politics, full of tricks and of gimmicks, trying to win a vote from we. When elections come around, all of them just hit the ground. Some spending tens of thousands, and when all is said and done, them disappear like magicians. You swear them is Houdini. You're guilty, oh yes, you're guilty. keeping we in the dark, wondering what happened. Integrity legislation gone. You're guilty, oh yes, you're guilty. How you get and say, don't vote for a solution? Well, Ralphie, he had a plan. You're guilty, oh yes, you're guilty. I hear it talk about the London High Commission, but we understand the senators plan everything underhand. Now I hearing Hickson flying out to England. Oh, yes, man. Hey, ribby-diggy-da-da-da-da. Hey, 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 hey. Woy, yoy, yoy.
Woo! Kaiso. I am telling you, this is, listen, I believe these Calypsonians, they are coming out with guns blazing. I tell you, listen, Kaiso, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. Richard, Antonia, you're doing it again. Don't know if they're going to put you in the finals, but you're doing it again. Guilty. That is Richard Antonio. Let me take this opportunity to formally welcome you to the Marcia Week Show. This is going to be one amazing show, I tell you tonight. This is going to be one amazing show. Let me tell you something, guys. I want you to like, share, and subscribe. Here on the Marcia Week Show, we motivate, we mobilize, we educate, we agitate. That's what we do here on the Marcia Week Show. So I want to give you a real big welcome. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. Judy Jilks, Monica Ince, Bajan Boy. And can I tell you, Judy Jilks was logged on from 1:30 p.m. today. Shirley, welcome. Queen D. Queen D is telling us she's liked and shared. The question is, have you liked and shared yet? Come on, guys. This is the time we do it. You know we do this thing together. You know. We do it together. So your part is that you're going to like and share. You're going to comment. When it's time to call, you're going to call, right? ADG, welcome. Teroni. Hi, welcome, Teroni Hall. Lucinda Ali, good night. Nigel Carrington. Oh, Marcia Miller, how are you doing, Marcia? And the other Marcia right there, too. Angela Burke, how are you, Carol? Good night, Mildred Ben. Edwin Pilgrim, welcome. Ansel Seeley, welcome. Diana Husbands, welcome. Flo Joe Maloney, welcome. Jefferson Sobers, welcome. Tom Daly, welcome, Tom. Dolly, not Dolly. Matthew Brown, hey Matthew B. Lyric Lewis Jill, Sandra Pierce, welcome. Lori Bob, welcome. Jacqueline, Aline, Tyrone Blackman, Sandra Charles. Oh my goodness, Heathen Nation 246. Welcome, Dale Worrell, good night. HJ Gaskin, good night. Folks, I want to just send a big good night to everybody. And we do this. We call your names because we know that unless you log on, we don't have a show. We don't have an audience unless you log on. And so we're appreciative of you. And I believe tonight is going to be a very powerful show. Very powerful show. We've done some research and we have some more for you on Dominica. We're going to share, one of the stories to you at 7:30. So those of you who are on, you're watching from Dominica, that's going to come at 7:30. Maxine McLean is going to be on at 8 o'clock, and it's going to be awesome. She has a really strong segment that she's going to share with us tonight. And Mr. Murray is on tonight at 8:30. And he has something to say about the police. Oh my goodness. And all of that was happening behind the truck. So, Mr. Murray is going to put that all into perspective. And then at 9 o'clock, I promise you, 9 on the dot, the phone lines are going to be open because we have not been doing that because of Dominica, but we have the phone lines open for you. for you, okay? But we have a great show lined up. But before we start anything, before we start the show, we've got to play the national anthem of Barbados, right? We're going to have to play the national anthem of Barbados. And if you're home, you're lying in your bed, at least sit up. If you're in the kitchen, pause for a little bit once you're not burning the pot. You can't pause if you're driving. But let us stand at attention to the playing of the national anthem of Barbados. Yes, Barbados, we write our names on history's page. I think that is becoming probably my favorite. We write our names on history's page. We write our names on history's page. Barbados, we are going to go down in history loyal opposition. That in this time and in this season in Barbados, that we stood up. We're going to go down loyal opposition. It's going to go down in history. It will go down in history that we stood up. We stood up and we had marches in Barbados. We had protest marches that we know goes against, they say, what Bajans do. Because Bajans are passive. That's what they told us. We broke that mold and mash it up and throw away that mold of passivity that they put on us. We are writing our names on history's page. We are throwing away that mold. We mash it up. We stand up on it. We did cause that mold to, we disintegrate that mold of passivity because we have said, you cannot define us. That's not who we are. We are writing our names on history's page because we're Bajans. That's who we are. We walk in the footsteps of Grantley Adams and all of those that went before Errol Barrow and all of those that went before us. And the loyal opposition will go down in history as being that strong voice of opposition outside of Parliament. Aren't you proud to be part of that? Aren't you proud to know your name is going down on history's page? We are that pressure group, and they will come with all kinds of different pressure groups. All of a sudden, people are having pressure groups, but we understand the objective. We understand exactly what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing. We are a set of Barbadians that are awake. We are a set of people that are no longer sleeping. We're using our Facebook pages. We're using YouTube pages. We now have so many persons are speaking out. At one time, it was just Casual Franklin. Remember that? And now we have so many of us. And that is what the problem is. Because I tell you something, if they think that in trying to if they think that you can get rid of a leader, or they say, oh, that one is a leader, let's get rid of that one. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Let them know it's not going to happen. It's like the ants. You remember the ants? When there's one little thing will happen, one little thing, it's not going to happen. But when all of those ants come out, one little ant, you're sleeping and a little ant, those like red ants, they bite you. You just, you knock it off and you go back to bed, right? But try and step in an ant's nest. You try and step in an ant's nest and see what happened. And they need to understand that over here in the loyal opposition, they're stepping in an ant's nest. Don't you ever think that you're going to get rid of one person and it's going to solve the problem. Oh, they're going to shut up now. We're going to find a leader. But what they don't understand, we understand that strategy. And so don't you think if you touch me or this whole loyal opposition, let me tell you something, 10 more going to rise up. 10 more. They will rise up all over this country, I tell you. You remember Clement Payne? You remember Clement Payne? You remember what happened? Try it. I want to thank those who called me all the time, all of this week. People, we live in a country, in this democratic country, where there's democracy in Barbados. You can speak. However, I got so many calls this week. Marcia, are you okay? We are worried for you. Marcia, do you have cameras? Marcia, do you have a fence? Marcia, be careful. Marcia, don't take the bus. Marcia, in Barbados? I know that the powers that be know. They know very well. I'm not the problem. I'm not your problem. I'm the least bit of your problem. And you know how you're going to know that I'm not your problem? Touch me. Touch this organ. Touch anybody, any of the panelists. Do anything you want to do to Caswell, whomever. You will realize, and this is not a threat. I'm not trying to threaten anybody. I'm making the point that you will see that we are just one ant. You understand what I'm saying to you? We're just one ant. I'm grateful for the well wishes and I'm grateful for the prayers. But I want us to know we're in this thing together. And with that, folks, I want to talk to us about the march on Saturday. Every time we march, they tremble. Do you remember, as Caswell pointed out to us, do you remember what they did when they were doing the World Cup? They did not want us to march in town. What did they do? They then planned to put the Bridgetown, this market in Bridgetown, which was a flop. Flopped. They put it in the middle of Broad Street, right in front of Cave Shepherd, to block us. That's what they did. They very well knew that nobody was going there, but they did not want us to march in World Cup. So that's what they did. And some of you have bought the lie to say that they don't, marching doesn't do anything. They don't care about whether you march or not. I'm here letting you know that they do care. They do care. It matters to them. I have heard from people inside of there that have said to us, and yes, people from within. There, within the whole, I will just put it like that, okay? They call us and they talk to us. How do you know? How would I know that they were planning after the march if the marches did not mean anything? Why is it after the march, the first march that we did with the cybercrime bill, which was, by the way, a big march in town? Who remember that? Miss McLean was there too. Rose Corbin was there with the, I think that's when she was there with the shell or the cowbell, beating the cowbell. Listen, folks, I got a call from within their quarters. Almost 11 o'clock that night, the Saturday night after the march. And the person said, I just came from a meeting. And I'm telling you this so that you understand your presence matters out there. They're nervous about it. Every time you march, do not get tired. I was called after 11 o'clock at night to say, Marcia, I just got from a meeting with those people, the powers, and they said, Marcia, they are planning to invite you to a meeting. They gave me the name of the person that is supposed to call me from within their group. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you would remember I spoke about it before. They called me, someone who had just come from a meeting from them. So they're trying to let you believe that everything is so great among them. Huh? They don't have any problems, really. I was called and said, I just came from a meeting. And the plan is that this particular person, I could call the names, but I'm not going to, is supposed to call you, Marcia, to a meeting. And guess what? The person warned me and said, Marcia, don't go. He said to me, whatever you do, do not go to that meeting. Because when you go to the meeting, the plan is to quell everything down, to say we are negotiating, we are working, so then you don't need to go on the streets. You got me? They were planning to think that they could trick me. But the thing is, I couldn't go on to any meeting on behalf of the people. They didn't say, the people didn't give me permission to go on any, to go represent them. Why are they calling me? And I got off the phone. I told my husband, and he said, very well, you're not going to that meeting. I said, Dave, I thank God to have a strong husband, He says, you're not going to that meeting. I said, you're very well. You know that I'm not going to that meeting. And I came on, I prayed about it, and I said, okay, because I don't even want them to call me. I don't want to hear them. And I came on the program on a Sunday night, and what did I say? I told the story, and I said to everybody that's listening from that camp, please take the message back. I do not negotiate with terrorists. You remember that? I am not coming to your meeting. So don't you ever let them fool you that they are there, that the marches don't matter. They matter. Why are we marching? This is a protest march for real crime legislation in this country. We are no longer joking. Did you see the news newspaper today, the article? 76-year-old woman. A 76-year-old woman went out to tie her must be her sheep or something. The woman is living in fear. She's 76, 4 years away from being 80. And she was raped while her grandson was there. You think this is a joking business and you come talking to us about Tint? You think we're idiots? When is Barbados going to get riled up? When is Barbados going to get riled up and say to the leadership of this country, we are ready for real change in this country? When are we going to say we are tired of this distraction? When are we going to say to the government, we are tired of this distraction? Why are you trying to distract us? Look at this in the newspaper. I thank the newspaper for printing this. Who wrote the person who did the article is Antoinette Connell, and I will big her up. And the newspaper is The Nation, because sometimes we come on here and we curse them off, we tell them off, right? When we believe they're not reporting, but they reported it. We read it. I could not even read all of it. Can you imagine being raped and they wanted to sodomize her? She's another gun. Listen to me, Barbados. This is time we demand of this government to tell us where the guns are coming from and stop this game. We are tired of the games. We're done with the games. Do you understand me? I came on fired up tonight. Before I came on this show, I started to pray. I was overcome with tears for this country. So don't tell me you're not going to come out to march. Why are you marching? It's bigger than the Tint. We are marching because we need tougher laws for gun possession. That is what we're marching for. We are marching because we need the authorities to come to the people and tell the people the truth of where the guns are coming from and stop with this distraction. Pardon the shouting tonight, but I am just upset. We are sitting down and watching this country being destroyed right before our very eyes. Talk, we are done with talk. We are done with talk, and I can afford to speak like this. You know why? As a little girl growing up in Central Village, in Big Lane, Central Village, where gunshots were piercing my eardrums nightly. Some days I'm going to school and I have to run back in my yard. I grew up with fear. I grew up with tension. When I went overseas to study in New York, my husband will tell you sometimes in the night I'm jumping out of my bed. Fear. Is that what we want, how we want our children to live? You think this is a joke? Skin in your teeth, Attorney General, and behind a truck? I won't even touch that because Mr. Murray is going to go. This is a serious situation. And I can tell you this about this woman here. If I had this program when the DLP was in power and this was going on, I tell you that I would be speaking about it. I lived it. I lived in fear. So everything, something goes, I'm jumping. And I live to see the day in Barbados that I even refuse to stay in a car if my husband has to go into an establishment. I'm not even staying in the car. Why should we have to live in a country like this? Why should we be living in fear? And you're going to tell me that people who choose to vote a particular way because it is your government that is in power, you cannot look at the situation for what it is and recognize that this government does not have the answers or refuse to find the answers. The citizens of Barbados, we are saying to the government, enough is enough. We are done. We are tired of the games. You know where the guns are coming from. I have all right to speak on this. In 2013, I think I did a film called Hush 2. And I was showing the violence on the street. And you know what you all told me? Monsieur, the film is good. This is what they wrote in the newspaper. I was trying to find the article. They said, Marcia, the film is good, but it's not Barbados. You are projecting Jamaica on Barbados. Is what they told me. The middle class people. Yes, and my lovely Christian friends. But what they did not know, there was a subculture that was growing, being fed by all kinds of things from America, from Jamaica, from Trinidad. I'm dealing with young people. You have your ears on the ground. I was trying to tell Barbados something then. That was 2013, people. I'm sorry, 2012. Dave can correct me in the private chat on these dates. 2012. I went back further. Go back and check. Vigilante the Crossing, the next one that I did. I remember taking these movies to Brooklyn and to different places, and they told me, "What you are casting Barbados in a bad light." That's what they told me. Who was in power then? Wasn't it the DLP? I didn't have this program. I used my film to highlight it then. I did. So where I can come on and I can tell you, when it comes on to the matter of crime, I am totally, I'm not trying to point a finger and say it is this and it is that. I am saying there is a government that is in power. And the government that is in power is trying to shift the blame. Every single time they keep telling us it's something else. We soon hear that it is the wind. We soon hear that it's climate change. Every single time they try to shift the blame and give us some imaginary thing up there like Tint. Listen to me, people. If this doesn't get your blood boiling not because it's the bees in power, but because of whoever is in leadership. If the DLP was in leadership and telling us this cock and bull story about Tint, we should get on the same way. Why are we having to live in fear in this small little country? You're going to tell me? You can't come to us and tell us the truth about where the gun's coming from. Why? They use a gun to hold up the old woman, the elderly. Are you coming to tell us this nonsense about Tint? You're mad. In Jamaica, what started to happen? Only the rich people could feel safe. Only the rich people could feel safe in Jamaica. You know why? They went up to the hills and built gated community and had enough firearms in the house. That's what it's going to boil down to again in this country. But when they want the vote, they come to the poor and the lower middle class people, because right now, the middle class wiping out in this country. And it is to us that they're going to come for votes. I say hit the streets on Saturday. Hit the streets on Saturday and let them know what it is that we want. We want to hear a proper plan from this government. How are you going to protect the elderly in this country? How are you going to protect the children? How are you going to protect the women? You did not even send out a proper notice notifying the women in St. Philip or anywhere for that matter about this thing. Thank God for Antoinette Connell and the nation. No notice, nothing went out because you do not care about us. And you know the thing about this loyal opposition? Do you know that there might be other women that have been raped by this nasty person going around? But because it's rape, they won't come out. A younger woman is not going to come out and talk to a news reporter and tell him that she was raped. A younger woman is not going to do it. We don't know how many women have been raped, and there was no notice. I did not hear any notice from the police. My friends were telling me who knew the woman, sent me a message and said, Marcia, you're in St. Philip, be careful. We did not hear a notice because these people are trying to cover up everything. The time for covering up is over. Get out on the streets. Do you hear what I tell you? Before we cannot recognize this place, or we're locked up inside of our homes. I can tell you this because I lived it. I lived seeing me and my grandmother underneath a bed in the broad daylight. You hear what I tell you? Is that how you want to live? You know, let me just read something here. Let me read something here for you guys. Because this here, I am so riled up over this. Where is it? I saw something on this particular person's page, and what did I do with it? I was so sure that I saved it in the right place. Marcia, where did you save that? If you remember it, and the person who sent it to me today, can you send it for me? Can you send it? Send something. It was on Eric Lewis. This is a guy who from MAD, and he's always putting up stuff, congratulating the government. This is not a negative anything about Eric Lewis. Or can somebody go on his page? He posted it today, and he was talking about how he went to the bank to pay, to make a deposit or withdrawal, and he got scared and left. Somebody sent it to me, and I want to read it. And I want to read it because here is someone who uses his post to prop up the government. And I'm using it as an example to say to us, those of you who are listening to me and you normally vote a particular way, you normally vote for the BLP. Listen, can you really just stop all of that? Can you hear me outside of those colors tonight? I've lived it. You hear what I tell you? Don't mind their saying I need to talk about Jamaica. I'm telling you about Jamaica. And do you know what it felt like to come to Barbados? And I could keep my doors open 10, 11 o'clock at night. Do you understand what that freedom was? How strange it was to me. Ask my family. And when we moved here, every time I was going to lock the door, and I would be told, you don't need to lock the door. I'm locking up the house. Marcia, open up the house and let the wind come in. Do you understand what it does to your psyche? Do you understand how you feel like a prisoner in your home with all the burglar bars around your house, on your windows and your doors? Do you understand that? You understand that when night comes, you have to go inside of your house? Do you understand that my mother was standing outside at her gate talking with somebody, and she just felt her stomach hurting, and she said, let me go in and get a cup of tea. I'm going to put her on the kettle. And by the time she goes in, the kettle go, wee, and she mixing the tea. She hear gunshots, and the lady she was standing up at the gate was shot down, was shot and killed. She went up there. Her friend was in a pool of blood. Do you understand that? Do you understand that as a little girl, at about 7, 8 years old, I looked through the window and I saw gun butts coming through the louver window, and we had to run. They take everybody in the 90 and we run through the back. You understand? Is that how you want to live? And then have the gall to come and tell me I can't say anything? When a country that I have come and I've been a part of this country, and I see the country spiraling down into decay, and I'm supposed to not say anything? A country where our family paying taxes in? You mad? A country that I travel to promote? Where were you when I was traveling to promote this country? You know how shame I feel when I go to Dominica and they're telling me about the crime they're hearing in Barbados, and they're telling me that they probably have 1 or 2 persons killed every year. You know how shame Michelle and I would feel listening to that? And you have the gall to come and tell me I cannot speak on that. I can speak about it because I lived it. And if there's one thing I know I'm here in Barbados to do, if there's one thing I know I'm here to do, it's to warn you. I did in Hush 2 under the DLP. I did in Vigilante the Crossing. I was on Kodumend on the Walk Holy Band when the gunshot fire off. And I was one of those condemning it and calling on the government to do something. So don't come and tell me nonsense. People, enough is enough. That's why I went on the street and we had the solemn marches. And some of you very ones, when you heard I was going to do the solemn march for Jonathan, said, oh, you're not coming to be involved in no politics. Well, I was calling you to politics. Some of you so dumb. Some of you are so dumb. Some of you behave as though you are just wound up. You can't see anything. You can't look beyond. Thank God for Stephanie Chase. Yes, Stephanie Chase contacted me. Stephanie Chase from Chase Files. Dunks from Dunksman. Thank you for Don. They have big social media profiles. I even saw this other man, I can't remember his name, that talks about his granny. I think D2 or somebody was posting up this stuff on the Jonathan March. They did. And though we understand where Stephanie Chase, where her loyalty lies, we understand there sometimes it seems, where some of them, I want to be, I don't want to label people. You understand? But what I'm saying is that Stephanie Chase picked up the phone and called me. and said, Marcia Weeks, I saw you're doing this. What can we do to help? And some of you are going to say, oh, but she said this something bad about you last week. Yes, we understand that. That was then. What I'm talking about is this. I am saying, can we love Barbados enough? Can we love this country enough to stop seeing colors? Thank you, Stephanie Chase. Thank you, Dunksman. Thank you, D2. You understood the assignment and you use your platform. Thank you, Don, young man who came and said, Marcia, I'm going to help you. He didn't just call me. Yes, the others called me and they used their page. Don used his page, but Don turned up. Don delivered the T-shirts for the people that morning. Went and paid them for me for the T-shirts so the family could get the T-shirts. The Jonathan Chase's family could get the T-shirts. Don lift up my hand. A young man, not even 30 years old. I was so weak that morning, emotionally weak. I thank God for, what's her name? I wrote down the names because I don't want to forget. These people who understand the Senator Drakes. What's the first name? Senator Crystal Drakes, that independent senator. She was down there. She wasn't dressed up. My girl was in her short pants. I didn't even recognize her. She came and tapped me on my shoulder and she said, Marcia, I heard the call and I'm here. She said, you called and I answered. That's what Senator Crystal Drake said to me. So don't come talk to me about no party, nothing. Huh? What about Trevor Prescott? Huh? What about Trevor Prescott turned up and Trevor did not come? Honorable Trevor Prescott, let me address him properly, did not come and ask me to speak on any mic. Honorable Trevor Prescott stayed far away and just wave at me and smile. He understood the assignment. All of the DLP politicians who came and stayed in the background. I saw one or two, and it's afterwards I heard that they were there. Nobody tried to hug anything because guess what? The love for Barbados, that divine love for our country, the love for Barbados superseded. Guys, please, I apologize for my shouting tonight, but I am incensed by this nonsense. You come in, all of what is happening. Send a thing from me from Eric Lewis or somebody. Somebody sent it to me today. Thank you. I have this lady. She's always got me. She always got me. Thank you, my darling. You know who you are. Oh boy. Let's see. I don't have, I should be able to see it. I don't have Facebook. Let's see. I'm not seeing it anymore. Can you copy it? The sister who sent it to me, I want to read it before we go into Dominica stuff tonight. Can you copy it for me, please? I don't know. I was able to see it today, but as you know, I don't. They took my Facebook. Okay. Oh, yes, Dave. Thank you. Thanks, Dave. So Dave is going to put it up. And this is nothing to bash Eric Lewis. I'm not into bashing Eric Lewis. Okay. I am just saying, look at what has happened. And that's how what he wrote is what I'm feeling. Why should I have to feel that way? Living in this beautiful country. Why am I going to feel so shame? Right? Is this there? Okay, I want to do this. I want to share this before we move on tonight. I want to share this before we move on. I tell you, the righteous indignation. Enough is enough. I don't care what party you're from. Stop the nonsense, please. You can imagine what would have happened. I sent it to you, Dave. You could imagine what would have happened if the BLP was in opposition. This government this country would be locked down right now. We deserve to pause. We had a moment with Jonathan Chase to pause, and we did not pause. Now we had a 17-year-old cricketer. Oh, blessed be to Jehovah God for protecting him. You can understand a 17-year-old boy, his body riddled with 4 metal gunshots go through his body, not rubber bullets. 4 gunshots go through his body. 1 went through his chest. Huh? You could imagine that? He plays to represent Barbados in cricket. Every time I think about it, I don't know, this thing gets me. And you come talking nonsense. You come talking with some foolish bill. You come to tell us, show us some nonsense bill. You come to talk to us about where is the bill with the tougher laws? Where are the tougher laws for gun possession? What about the people who are bringing in the guns? Why have you not given us a report on that? Everybody and their grandmother know the people on the streets who are bringing in the guns. Everybody can rattle off the names. I remember in 2012, I guess Eric Lewis post here, I'm going to get to it. I was filming 20, oh goodness, these dates. I was filming Hush 2. And I had to repeat, Dave. 2009. Thank you, Dave. 2009, filming Hush 2. And I'm telling you the God truth. We had to film in Deacons. You know that before I filmed in Deacons, you know what I had to do? I had to get permission for the Don, whoever was in control up there of the Red Sea from that time, 2009. I couldn't start. Listen, time was going and we had to start filming, and they keep telling me he has to come first. We have to see him first. And a black car drive down and the window rolled down and they said, see him there? And he looked and he nodded, and we went on filming. We could start our filming. Everybody know. We all know. We all know. We all know who bringing in the things. We know. And you could tell me, you minister in charge of crime, attorney general, you don't know? You don't know? We're tired of these stupid games. We're tired. Nonsense. You condoning it? What are you trying to do? Kill us off in here? You condoning these young men? Look at Eric. Eric here. I'm tired of this. Listen. Eric Lewis wrote this 6 hours ago. He wrote it today. And I believe what he's saying because that is how I now start to feel. This is how messed up this place got me. This is what Eric Lewis is saying. That's why I tell you this don't have nothing to do with party. Eric Lewis said, this is how this messed up this place got me. Last night about 11-ish, I needed some cash. So I drove down to Scotia in Warrens. When I got into the car park, there was one lone car there with hired car plates. parked near the door in a disabled space. I slowed but could not see into the vehicle. I kept driving slow and looked into the building to see if anyone was inside using the ATM. I saw one man inside, but I felt uneasy. There was something about how he looked that told me not to go in there. He looked at me, still driving slow and doing my surveillance. Now, I guess I also made him feel uneasy because I didn't park and get out. Instead, I turned around and left. Now, he might have been a nice guy in there going about his business. But this is what this place is doing to me. What is it doing to you? Eric Lewis, I hope you could tag. Can you tag the PM in this? Can you tag the Attorney General? I know you would know how to tag them. 338 persons liked the post. Eric, this is how I feel about it. I don't feel, even if it's broad daylight, I am not staying. I'm not doing certain things anymore. I have never been this way. Never. People used to pass my house and say, Marcia, it's after 10 o'clock and you have the door wide open. That's what they used to tell me. I felt, because after a time, I was nervous, and then when I just came here, and then I just relax and enjoy it. Relax and just enjoy sitting outside. I'm a true island girl. I love that. I can't do it anymore. A 17-year-old cricketer with 4 gunshots in his body. You think that is right? One going through his chest. We're tired of crying. We're tired. I tell you, today, today, folks, today, or yesterday, I was there saying praying, and I had this strong urge to call this young man. A young man, I will tell you this, and I will never, I'm not going to call any names. If you're listening, don't worry. I will never do that to you. About a year and a half ago or so, I got a call from a young man after 11. And I got a call. By mistake, I answered because it was too late. I normally would just take the message. But I answered. Is a frightened young man on the other line and said, Marcia, Miss Weeks, I need to speak to somebody. I said, what is the matter? He said, he wanted to talk to me. He said, no, I can't talk to you anymore. I said, talk to me. And he got off the phone and he did not talk to me. I kept the number there. I called him back again. I think I was the one who called him back. He finally told me, he says, ma'am, would you believe that a politician ordered a hit on me? A politician. I am not telling you any lies. Listen to me. Listen to what I'm telling you. Listen. A politician ordered a hit on him, and the persons came and shot him. He had a disagreement with the politician. He was shot. Luckily, he did not die. He was scared to tell me. It was months later, if I'm remembering the story well, that he told me the name of the politician. I said to him, go and talk to Caswell. In fact, by that time, I think he was asking me for Caswell's number. I said, when you go to Caswell, don't just talk to him about the other thing, right? I said, tell him Caswell about this as well. Go and tell Caswell. And I called him and I told him myself, just in case the guy was scared. Don't come on here and tell me no nonsense that I tell you no lies. Would you believe? I am hearing that said politician, I'm not calling anybody's names. And it's not because I can't call, because I don't know the name. It's because I don't want to call the name. Because it has not come. We would like for the police to police. See, but the politics mix up into the police. I am now being told that there is a politician in Barbados only a week and a half ago that was caught with an unlicensed firearm. Why haven't we heard anything about that? You see why they have to come and tell us about Tint? You see why these people have to come and tell us about Tint? You think we are idiots? We are done with you and this nonsense. You see why they have to come and tell us about Tint? The same young man. I felt this strong need to call. I heard today, young man said to me, what I just told you, politician, nothing yet in the newspaper about it. Wait there. Where is it? If this happened, where is it? I have spoken to police who told me that they know of the politician that ordered the thing on the young man. Ordered the hit. Police have told me that they know that. Politician is wide. I said politician. That's what I said. What I'm saying to you, these people, Barbados, these people, don't let politicians trick you in talking about no tint. Nonsense. They know what's going on. Some of these politicians are also involved in crime. Some of their family members, I got it, family members, some of it come into the press, have been caught with ammunition, with guns, with drugs. They are mixed up. They are mixed up. You hear what I tell you? And the reason they need to tell us, why is it in this whole discussion? Tell me if I miss it. Some of you that are watching from the BLP, you probably would have watched more of the speeches and so on. Have we ever had an address given to us about the source of guns? Let me pause. And I haven't been reading the comments. David's been putting up the comments. Let in the comment section. Oh, okay. Miss McLean, come in whenever you can. Remember your 8 o'clock. Come in. Because I will talk. I will talk the whole night on this. Listen, folks. Anybody ever heard? Honestly, let's honest. Over 1,000 of you watching. Don't be partisan. Tell me the truth, because this issue is a life and death issue. And we cannot be mixing up colors and things in this issue. I know those from the DLP, you see it different than I see it. And that's okay. I know you some people in the DLP don't like when I talk like this, but I have to be true to myself. I am saying, anybody ever heard, has anybody ever heard a speech given to us, a press conference given to us about the source of guns under this administration? I will wait because I don't want to tell a lie on anybody. I don't want to exaggerate anything. I'm waiting because if I'm wrong, then I will take it back. What I am, my submission to you is that I have never heard any press conference coming to us talking about source of guns, right? And how are we going to stop the source of guns? I have never heard it. Am I wrong? So that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the source of the guns. Okay, the source, how they're getting in the country. I know they did an amnesty. I know that. I'm talking about, have we had a national discussion or a press conference? I don't recall. I don't recall. I recall a press conference about Tint. And if they ever think that we are going to sit down and take this nonsense from them, we are making a demand on this government. We need you to come out and speak to us clearly about the source of guns in this country. Is it because some of these people that are bringing in the guns are financing campaigns? What about the business people? I don't want to start no ethnic war, okay? I'm not ready yet. I don't want to start an ethnic war in Barbados. But there's a certain ethnic group that everybody that I talk to, from the time we were doing vigilante crossing, which was in 2013, 2015, right there. From the time we were doing vigilante the crossing in 2015, the young men that were in my show, in my movie, told me about this ethnic group that bringing in guns. You want to tell me that if I am a nice Christian woman in serving the Lord and praying and worshiping, I'm not involved in a black life, right? And I can know that, and you're going to tell me you never hear nothing like that yet before? But I see you giving them this ethnic group lots of clout and positions and this and that and that and that in this country, though. I say to you, be careful of this government. You remember how they want to lock us up? Put regular people like myself that talk the truth 10 years in jail? Huh? And people still carrying in nice, shiny, big, shiny guns inside of here. Some of the guns them bigger than the police gun. And coming to us with this crap about tint. Let me tell you something. Are you tired? Barbados? Are you sick and tired? Are you sick and tired of what's going on? I'm not seeing Miss McLean. I didn't send them the link. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I didn't send the link. Oh my goodness. Please send it to Mr. Murray as well. Oh, my apologies. Let's play this calypso. And as we're playing the I'm not in a long talk. This hope a talk, and you don't come out. Come out and let them know that we are on Saturday at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock Saturday. We're done. We're tired. We need proper legislation. Go ahead, Dave. Let's play this before Miss McLean comes. Could you start over, please? Start over. Thank you. Guys, the like and share. Like and share.
Stop the infiltration. Stop the importation. Find the source. Who's the source? Hold the source that bringing guns in the land. Block the source. Stop the source.
What we want is gun eradication.
You could be an aristocrat. You could be a millionaire. Family of pedigree. You're not getting spared.
The source could be a businessman renting out the guns.
Aim is a solution to stop the gun pollution.
Find the source. Who's the source?
Hold the source that bringing guns in the land.
Block the source. Stop the source. What we want is gun eradication. Find them.
Find them,
Find them.
bringing guns in the land.
Block the source.
Stop them,
Stop the source.
stop them.
What we want
It's gun eradication.
The source could be CRA, customs could be involved. The bottom line is to find the cause, get the gun violence solved. The source could be the listeners who don't want us to say our thing. Every day they keep on telling you, if you see something, say something. Find the source. Who's the source?
Hold the source that bringing guns in the land.
Block the source. Stop the source. What we want is gun eradication.
Find the source. Find the source. I want us to have one of those placards. Find the source. Find the source. I talk to young people, and all young people they keep saying, we don't manufacture guns. The youngest of the young understand how to solve this problem. And you're going to tell me those that some of them we're paying $500,000, they don't know to solve the problem? I submit to you, they know very well what to do. They don't have the balls, they have the willingness to do it. Let me bring Miss Moon in.
You.
Hi, good night, Miss McLean. Let me just apologize to you. I'm calling you to come in. And I was, I spent a lot of time today, I was very somber and praying a lot before I got on. And so and this thing, because I've lived it, it really moves me. And I want to apologize publicly to you and Glenn Murray. That is not your fault why you're late. It's my fault that I did not send you the link. Okay, thank God that you reached out to Dave. Thank you so much. But
Yes.
before you even start, Miss McLean, I wanted to look at this because I want to talk about Mr. Eric Lewis tonight. And an hour ago, he made another post. And this is what I'm trying to say to people, Miss McLean. If if we could find one issue that we are all going to work on, this one issue. I was saying how Stephanie Chase and Dunksman and D2 and Don, all of us, we understood the assignment, and they helped me when I was doing the thing with Jonathan Chase, because they have big, following online. And here it is, Eric Lewis wrote another post about this crime situation in Barbados. Look what he says. Mr. Lewis says, elderly woman raped multiple times. I tired of this place. It is all right to talk about hotel buildings, construction booming, and the economy growing. But, oops, I can't say that word.
Yes, we saw it. But
Yes, that word that when I came, I was saying it to somebody.
You didn't know what it meant.
I didn't know at
You
the
didn't know
time. They
what it-
told me I was cursing. But this is the RH that we have to wake up to every day. Can you just for once, those of you who are DLP watching, BLP and all of that, can you just see these colors, Miss McLean, tonight? Please. Can we not use crime as a political football? Please. You hear what he's saying? The government has lost touch with how to deal. I didn't even know what I was going to read. The man said the government has lost touch with how to deal with crime in this country. And he posted this an hour ago. It's not like he heard the show and then went and posted it.
It was there well, earlier this afternoon.
This afternoon.
You might have posted it on multiple, source in media, but I saw it earlier today.
He says that the government has lost touch with how to deal with crime in this country. Plain and simple. Telling me that investors are investing X amount does nothing for me when I'm frightened to leave my house. Say it again. Come to the front of the class, Eric Lewis. That's what I'm trying to say. But if I say it, Miss McLean, they're not going to listen to me. Can we listen to Mr. Eric Lewis? Can we listen to Eric Lewis, please? Dave, let me see how many people liked his post. Because I guess it just went up.
Yeah, it probably went upon another medium.
And somebody giving they can't expect for him to say it. He will have to say it because he's putting Barbados in front of party. But Miss McLean, over to you. I know you're dealing with the same issue. So, ma'am, let me just keep quiet. The floor is yours, Miss McLean. Go right ahead.
Well, I listened from the beginning.
Okay, we're not hearing you, Miss McLean. You're sticking. You're sticking. Hello? Can you hear
my dinner and whatever else. I was listening and in fact, what I plan to talk about is a continuation of this concern, because we have reached a point in Barbados where.
Okay. Miss McLean, we're not hearing you clearly. Is it me, Dave, or is it Miss McLean? Can you hear her? You can't hear Miss McLean. Miss McLean, can you go out and come back? I'm going to put you in, ask you to go out and come back in. We can't hear you. We can't hear. Dave, can you call her? Because she's stuck. Now, Dave, put back up Eric Lewis's comment. Yeah. Blind G, this comment about Eric Lewis, this is what I'm trying to talk to us about. And even you on here, you're not getting it. All of a sudden, Lewis changed it to no. That's not what this is about tonight. Stop it. Love you, my darling, whoever is a man or woman. But this is not it tonight. Hate to single you out. But that's not it tonight. No, we're not there tonight. This is what we're defending tonight. We're not here to say, oh, Eric Lewis changes too. No, no, no. We're not. This is what we're defending, you know. We're not about that tonight. Folks, listen, I understand, Adrian, that you might have dismissed him. I understand all of that. The point is, we are living in Barbados and we have a crisis. And we're going to still be pointing fingers in the crisis. If you go back and you watch my movie, Vigilante the Crossing, in Vigilante the Crossing, you know what happened in that movie? The crime situation in that particular village. I wrote the movie and I can't even remember what we called. We came up with a fictitious name of a village, but we filmed all of it in Britain's Hill. And you know how they got to solve the crime in that community? Everybody coming together. Black people, white people, poor, rich, poor, church, Rasta, everybody coming together. If we, I tell you, you don't want to, you are not going to be able to live here. You're going to be like me when I was in Dominica. Shame. I felt shame in that car. I felt bad. I feel like how I used to feel about Jamaica when I traveled. That's what's going to happen. You have to go, you're going to end up have to go and live somewhere else. Like I'm now living somewhere else. Is that what you want? I just want I want it to sink in. And I want us to get out there on Saturday. Our presence on Saturday is saying to everybody involved, we need some stricter laws. We need to you need to come and talk truth to us. Go find the source. Go find the source. Cut off the source, please. Fix the airport, the controls at customs. Why it is that only some things are searched and some not searched? If you're serious, you're serious. Go deal with customs. Go deal with all of the ports of entry. When you start to do that now, then you can come and talk to us about little things like tint. Not before. We don't want to hear it. I understand that, Kamar, but I want us to understand, those of you living in Barbados, we have to get so serious about this. We're waiting on Miss McLean to say if she can come back in. We have to get so serious about this that we're not going to allow any party, DLP, BLP, or anybody to come and mash up this country. We need to, this is small enough. It is small enough that we can actually change it. We can do it. We can change this country, you know. We just have to get serious. But if you are in bed with the criminals, you can't get serious about it. So what all we're saying is that if this government you can't do it, move out the way. Because you can't be. Okay, Miss McLean is back. Let me see if I can get her in.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear. Let's hope that.
Gremlins are at work, Marcia.
Oh my Lord!
For some reason, I have not had an issue with the internet for a while, and that just went down. So, and I wish that person, somebody's been calling me. I hope they will stop calling in a minute. I trust you can't hear the phone ringing, but if you can,
yes, we can hear. We can hear. But go right ahead. It means
yeah, what I was saying is that I was listening.
So let me just apologize, Mr. Murray. It means that you're going to be late. He's here, but but I will allow you to to go to share, and then he will come in. Thank you.
Yeah, because what I can do, because I was actually going to speak to what you've been speaking about, because as I said, all Barbadians are increasingly being affected in significant ways by what is happening in Barbados. And I would call on the government to stop focusing on the talk and all of that, and recognize that the country is in a bad way. Whether we like it or not, it is. I mean, we are too small not to be affected. I mean, I saw those images of that young cricketer, and when I looked at his photograph, I said, looks like a young man with his cricket days may very well be over, but given the gravity of the situation. I pray that he continues to be with us and that he has significant recovery in the shortest time and recovers. But with how many bullets in your chest and so on, that I don't know what the damage has been. But look at him. Just his physique, 17 years old, and all the opportunities are there. But Marcia, when we look at this, I think it is critical. What I wrote down, and I'm not going to get into a lot because you did promise people that we would get to open. So I'll speak for maybe about 5-10 minutes and let Glenn come in, and perhaps then we can come back to this sometime. But government cannot be given a pass on the need to address the crime in the country. People recognize that, yes, right now we have persons being apprehended for a lot of crime, but it is after the criminal activity has happened, after the damage has been done. That headline, I saw it this morning before I left home for church, because I looked at the newspaper before I left home. And that woman could be my sister. She is younger than my oldest sister. She's a couple years older than me. And to think that something like that can happen, and it can't be just another, because people are becoming so, I don't even want to say desensitized, but I am saying to the government of this country, yes, we have not been hearing anything constructive. I want to focus a little bit on what needs to happen at the prevention end, because the criminal activity is escalating. It is at a point where, when you think about it, it is just escalating in at a level and at a pace that is scary. Because at the end of the day, and think about it, business activity. I heard you read the article, the comment from Eric Lewis about the bank. Marcia, every time I hear about a crime in a bank, it bothers me. I got robbed in the bank in
I
broad daylight,
remember. Yes.
and I would say publicly that matter is still out there. The young man went to jail, is released. I went into a business place one day, and I swear I was looking at him because of his physical build. And any time that I have to go to a bank, because they tell you if you come to do a transaction over the counter, let's say you wanted cash, and you do it over the counter, some banks will charge you for it. I remember having to say point blank to a young lady. She said, "But you can go to the ATM." I said, "But I got robbed at an ATM in the middle of the day." And so when I heard him talk about the car, the reality was that when the bank checked their cameras, which were being monitored in Trinidad and not in Barbados, if they were doing their job, they would have seen that a car was sitting around in that car park all that Saturday afternoon for an extended period. Nobody getting out, not getting in, and obviously monitoring to see who. So I want to say to the government, you need, as we look to deal with the immediate, to work and put resources, some of that money that is being wasted, put those resources to address what I call government-supported community efforts. And I focus on two things: to rescue at-risk youth and to protect the vulnerable, especially the elderly. It is not easy, Marcia, to drive into my driveway and into my garage and watch a young man walk down the street who is going about his business, who's probably a decent young man, but wondering every time, what is he up to? I went to put garbage in my garbage can this evening. It was after dark, before I started to get ready for the show. And a young man was walking down the street. I don't know. I couldn't see him because it was, dust time, as we call it. But as I watched this young man walk by, I was wondering, what is he up to? And this is probably a youngster, decent, going about his business. But I just stood up there and watched him out at a point where I could go do what I had to do and then get back into my house. And the reason for that is that we are having home invasions that we're not being told about. And I challenge anybody to tell me otherwise, because I can cite examples. We have people being robbed. Luckily, I live in a neighborhood where we have a neighborhood group and people will share videos and whatever. But the unfortunate thing is that that can lead to a level of permanent distress that is not good for the community. And I ask the question, what are we doing on the positive side to work with communities? When I say we, well, let me say the government, because it isn't only the communities, but I am saying to government, you have to take responsibility. And it is no minor matter, because you mentioned the fact that people have illegal weapons, people are threatening, and I want Barbadians to take what you said very seriously. This is not for any sensational response or ratings or anything. These things are happening, and I'm going to speak about something, Marcia, because as I said, I'm unconscious that Glenn comes in, and I can always come back to this, because I'll pose a question to your audience and to Barbadians in terms of what can we call on government to support communities to do, giving them the resources to address these things. There were a number of suggestions I had, and we can come back to those. But I want to speak to something. You mentioned a young man who called you. And I know that in this country, we have been taking the lead from around the world. And as a woman who considers myself to be a feminist, not know ever since, and who would have been involved in issues pushing the interests of women, I tell people the best feminist is one for me now who is looking out for the at-risk young men and boys in this country. And I want to say that in the same way that a young man called you, I had a conversation about 2 or 3 months ago, if so long, with a distressed young man, somebody who I have taken on, as I would call him, my second son. And one of the issues that he raised with me, and I don't want to get into, well, I mean, nobody can tell who he is from what I'm saying, but he drew to my attention that there are people in this country, men in this country, who will put their faces out there as pillars in this country, who are exploiting poor boys, men, not adults, men, men, and have no qualms about doing that. Now, when you do that, you are destroying the souls of those boys. It has happened to women. I know a woman who's like an older sister to me. Until this day, this woman is traumatized by the sexual abuse that she experienced at the hands of the officials who were supposed to be looking after those children. And so one of the things, when we talk about violence and so on, my concern is that as we listen to the news day after day and we hear of shootings and stabbings, people ask the question, and you've had those discussions with young people who know, people who are using substances that numb them to the point that they can commit extremely callous and violent crime. But there are other young people who are so damaged, or people not so young, who are so damaged that, as I wrote down here, hurt, and this was something that my brother shared in relation to something that was out there in social media recently. And his response was, hurt people hurt people. So in other words, damaged people are so damaged that their sense of what is right and wrong and reasonable and okay and not so okay is also so damaged. They in turn are able to inflict hurt on people, whether it is, a drive-by shooting, a hired assassin, the willingness to retaliate in circumstances where people can otherwise probably demonstrate a level of emotional maturity to negotiate your way out of a difficult situation, etc. But there is a lot happening in this country, and I want to say that I hope that in the process, because I'm talking about at one level the issue of prevention, but at the other level, where we are talking about solving crime, that we also taking time to understand what motivates a person, young or old, male or female, because we are seeing females also getting more and more involved in criminal activity directly and in supportive roles, etc. But we have to ask ourselves what motivates or what causes young people or criminals, and I'm focusing on young men in particular because I think that there's a disproportionate number of young men being trapped either as victims or perpetrators of crime. And we really need to be spending time understanding the genesis of their problems and how best we can rehabilitate them. But as we talk about rehabilitation, Marcia and members of the loyal opposition, we also have to say to government, work, among other things, with people in the community to ensure that we can also tackle the issue of prevention and steering young people away from this kind of activity. Because Marcia, it is not easy. I have lived in this country. I'm about 10 years younger than Glenn, just 1 decade below Glenn. So when he's 18, I am 8. Okay.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you.
And, you know, we have lived, I mean, Glenn can talk about this because he's talked about growing up in Barbados, but I have never felt like this before. And this is not, and you know, and it is not getting any better. And I'm hearing people who should be saying, let us really struggle to understand what's happening and do something about it. Behaving as if it is okay or if it will just go away. And as far as I'm concerned, there are persons in authority, whether it's political or otherwise, who need to stop and do some serious introspection and ask themselves, how am I contributing to this problem, either by my negligence, by my active involvement, or turning a blind eye to some of the things that are happening? I will pause there because I want to hear what Glenn has to say. And if we have a chance, we can start talking about some of the things that I feel we can do, or things that have been in training in the past that we need to reactivate, etc.
Well, you know, thank you, Ms. McLean, and it's a pleasure to see both of you here. You know, tonight I missed you all last week, but you know, I want to say that just before Mr. Murray takes the floor, I'm so happy you raised that point you were making about young men. And because a lot of the crime, Miss McLean, a lot of what we see and the people who are being locked up and killed, although there are women involved, as Mr. Murray had pointed out to us one night, you still have young women involved, but majority of it is being seemingly perpetrated by young men. And so I am so happy that you were able tonight to talk to us about some of what we're hearing on the ground of what some of these perpetrators would have experienced. And as you say, hurt people. Because there's a group of people in this country, Mr. Murray, just before you come, I just want to back up something Ms. McLean said. And these are young gay men. They're teenagers or they are young adults. And yes, people are going to say, you know, because, you know, they think that I hate gay people. I hate gay people. What I'm saying is this, that there's a group of them, Miss McLean, that are being taken advantage of in this country. And I don't hear the outcry from their community about it. And there's a lot of our young men, Mr. Murray, in order for them to get along. And again, they're going to tell me I'm telling lies. But I sit down here and
You are not, Marcia, because that is exactly the situation that I just described. Continue.
A lot of our young men, those who are that inclined, are little not sure of where they are. And please, I don't ask anybody to come. Don't come for me. I'm not. What I'm saying is that community. Why don't we hear anything publicly about this? Why is it that a young man, Mr. Murray, needs something from a government officials and they have to bend over to get it? A lot of these guys are being raped or they are being asked to do this in order to get something. And all of this is happening to our young men and it's bottled up inside of them, Mr. Murray. And there are lots of people in power, politicians, and people in power. There are people Miss McLean know names. I know the names of some of the people too. We're talking to you about facts. And these young men, so when you see, as Miss McLean said tonight, hurt people. What we're seeing, Miss McLean and Mr. Murray, we're seeing the fruits of it. You understand? Some of what we're seeing is just fruit. But, you know, you could tell this issue is really, I'm chatty tonight. But let me just go to Mr. Murray. Good night, Mr. Murray. Welcome.
Good night, Marcy, and good night, Maxine.
Good to be your company again.
Good to be with you, Brian.
Today is really a remarkable night. Let me tell you why. Now, my topic tonight is police on the road, the service to self and country. Police on the road, the service to self and country. I decided on that topic yesterday afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock, and I wrote it down. And I sent it to Marcia this morning before 7. Okay? We never discuss what is involved. And here tonight, you are talking along the same lines with the police on the road, the service, self and country. Maxine is doing the same thing. Without any prior consultation, it seems as though we are as fully aware and conscious of the decline, the degradation in the society. So we seem to just have a consciousness that we need to express it, and it coincides on this night. Now, when this headline, let me define the service. The service means an action that harms something or someone. The service, an action that harms something or someone. Well, that is the reaction when I got when I saw the headline in the paper, the picture in the paper last week of the policemen and the leadership of the police effort in Barbados, the Attorney General and the Minister for Crime Prevention, Mr. Kurt Humphrey, whining in the street. I said to myself, is this a new form of community policing? Is that what community policing has come to me? Because I remembered there were a couple of mantras, things that Wynaf used to tell us in cabinet all the time. Clarity of purpose, seek for clarity of purpose, and certainty of outcome. And you also say, if you have a problem, face it and fix it. Face it and fix it. So when I saw this, what I considered a pathetic attempt, a degrading attempt for the policemen to be on the road, gyrating behind a music truck, I felt that was a great disservice to themselves, to an image of a Barbados has one the third oldest organized police service in the world. It was formed in 1835. Okay, and that is the best you can do to normalize, to be accepted by the police, by the public. And then I saw the headline: 21 homicides in 6 months. And then when I saw this morning's headline with that poor old lady, I said, what more must happen to Barbados and Barbadians to get this government to fix it and face it? Okay. And I'm sure Prime Minister Motley and a couple of others who are in the cabinet now, who remember those things. Fix it and fix it. And I said, this is no way to fix it and fix it. And I thought it was applicable for her, not so much to Attorney General Marshall, who provides the law to cope with the crime after it had been committed. I thought it is about time that Kurt Humphrey, who became Minister in charge of crime prevention on the 25th of February, March, April, May, 3 months. 3 months. And I think in that 3 months, I've only heard him talk about crime prevention maybe twice. And the most memorable one, he mentioned when he talked about he's not going to rush in, he's going to talk to people before he makes any policy decisions. 3 months, and you can't come up with any, like you said, Marcia, we need to hear some ideas on how you're going to fix it and do things. The same way, and I heard he did say to Minister Humphrey, did say that he thinks that crime prevention is a natural fit to his other ministry, people empowerment, et cetera, and that's fit. So if it's a natural fit, make it fit and make it work. Come and tell us something. But to be in there for 3 whole months, cannot even give the semblance of a policy, of a recommendation, how you do things differently. Naturally, and all is happening around the society night after night. One would have thought that after that headline, 21 homicides in 6 months, come and address the country on crime prevention. Like I said, the AG Marsh talked for crime, the penalties for crime. He talks about the judges appointed, the system that comes in after the crime. We want to know what you're doing to prevent crime, Minister. Minister Humphrey, who fancies himself to be very well informed, can be almost an expert on social policy. He's always talking about the laws and the bills for children and the aged and the disabled. And then you said, if you yourself admitted that crime prevention were natural fit to those other areas of your responsibility, and which you speak about so volubly, so often and repeated almost to the point of boredom, and you can't pick your teeth once about crime and crime. What are you doing about crime? I think it's a disgrace. I think the government is sorely wanted in this regard, and you can want for you to therefore seek to find time. How can you find time? Along with the Attorney General, crime being what it is, at the same time as have you 2 murders and 2 nights, etc. Robberies all over the broad daylight, banks, gas stations, all over the place. And only the public feel that things are out of hand. It hasn't dawned on you all yet that you have to do something about it. You have to fix it and tell us even what you're going to try to fix it. I think it's a disgrace. And we are overdue. With the Prime Minister, we went through the last by-election in St. James, North, and the Prime Minister barely mentioned crime. There are things which she avoided. But she spoke every night. Crime, the controversial topics of the proposed projects for the West Coast and East Coast and all over Barbados. Those things never cross her mouth once to give the public any respectful response to their demands and their concerns. And then the same thing is happening. They act as though it's not happening. It might be happening to them, but it's happening all around us. A lot of people have been touched by robbery or whatever, and we are long overdue. So then to reduce your crime prevention effort to dancing in the street because you want to show a softer, kind of more gentle side of the policeman. Policemen don't need to. Policemen who are born in Barbados, we know that most Bajans can walk up or move to rhythm. It's natural part of our musical culture. So to go and jump behind the street is not to show, it's not going to win you any hearts in the Barbarian community. They get people more compliant and respect you more and whatnot. Right? We know you can do. You don't have to prove that. In fact, you probably would have lost some points in the public sphere because it was an undignified way of marking of making yourself. If you can find time, why can't you find the time you spent to plan, to think about it, plan, execute it, take part? You know how many hours must have gone that not only for yourself, but that significant section of the force. How can you therefore not put all those resources, mental and other, into crime prevention that come with a policy and talent? I therefore think it's a disgrace. And we need a better account from the government, particularly from Minister Kirk. He's long overdue to come and talk to us. And what you're doing, you have the police. Whoever, I'm trying to figure out who would have come up with this idea first, and they do not bounce it off to other people to say, just make sense. There's no focus groups. You just go and do this. It's about going through. This would have to have been in the work for a number of months in order to get that kind of turnout in the road last week. That couldn't happen overnight. You had to make adjustments and time off, etc., and that sort of thing. The money that was given in T-shirts and bags and all those trinkets and all, you're going to Kadooment Day or you're in a political meeting, kind of gone to help pay the overdue allowances that policemen are still waiting to get. Your priorities are wrong. This is a waste of time. It has done nothing for you. or for the society. In fact, I think it has pushed the police force back because police force is one of Barbados' most important social institutions. Like, because the government's first duty is to give security and safety and stability to the society, not housing or health or education or jobs. The first thing you do. That's why a police force is crucial, because without the stability, nothing else can happen. And if you don't look at poor, distressed Haiti, where they don't have a properly organized police force.
Yeah.
So police, that is one of our most important institutions. And because of its importance, and because of the work, the policemen are not ordinary people. Like a nun is not an ordinary person. Policemen have a special calling. And we know, I'm sure they go to the Fed Street, they go to park, we know they can dance. They don't have to have a road march through Bridgetown to prove they can dance. To do what? And I think they have run, because the police force has already, because of the changing social conditions and cultural norms, etc., which are always evolving and changing, etc. The respect and the awe or even fear of the police is no longer what it used to be. So when you further degrade that and diminish that by trying you ordinary, you're not ordinary. People don't want you to be ordinary. People want to respect you. People expect the police force to act with empathy and sympathy and respect and cooperation. That is what they want from the police force. So we'd expect the nurses then to come and start have a road march to prove that what? That they get given good care. It is not expected. It's a false concept of what your role is or what the expected people are. Stick to your basics. Reassure the people. And so they have lost. I think the police force is at sea, because I thought that by now, apart from the crime prevention talk, when they follow the criminal situation around the Caribbean, police forces are strong, vigorous, they're in your face, they make their presence, you know they are in town. I have not seen any pictures of any police force in Caribbean having a road march through the streets to prove that they're cool and they're regular and they're with the people. Because that is not their role. Okay? And what we are lacking is we need to have the police doing things rather than road march, rather than making their presence felt on the street, let their presence be felt in the society. Put the criminals under pressure in the ways you know best how. That is why it seems as though it's a free-for-all for crime. We can, anybody, anytime can be attacked anywhere by anything, by anybody, with any weapon. It's very lazy, very laid back, as though we live in the natives are quiet and it is not. The society wants more. The society wants better, and there's nothing. And to change you used to be, you were from 1835. You were the Barbados Police Force, and then when they came here in February 1966, before we were independent, in November, as part of that, to commemorate that visit, they became the Royal Barbados Police Force. And that the Royal Barbados Police, the Royal was dropped along with force, became service.
Yes.
When we became Republic. But to change the name to service, it's not going to endear you until people see you are serving the people in the way they expect you to do. I don't know what it would take to get them back on track, but they need to come away, and there are operators, though Barbados are still going through what you would have found in Marseille when you first came 20 plus years ago. Like I said, our society's culture is always changing. Sometimes you can see it more often than not, but it's always in a state of flux. You're borrowing and tasting and testing and dropping and take. Barbados has done it ad nauseum to itself that something you scarcely know what is Barbadian, except for that word that you can pronounce on the short night Marseille. That's one of the few perennials that you know you're Barbadian, right? That's distinctively Barbadian, right? So, but we borrow and take. True, right? Right.
Listen, I was shocked when I came upon it because I had not seen it before. I was totally shocked.
I know. But that is inherently Bajan. When you know that, you're in Bajan, you've got a real Bajan, as they say. But I'm saying that we need something out of the police force. We could for a force at 190 years. You have a lot more to offer. You have a history. Why could they have organized a pageant, a parade, a show, a lecture, an exhibition of their shortage of change and growth over the world, a couple hours on Broad Street and through the city to what? That act to me is equivalent in my mind. To me, that has so degraded the standard of the police force to me, and to me, in its standing and the reverence and the respect that you need to have in the force. It reminds me of that is equivalent to making that pact with the gangs. You're compromising yourself. You're not reducing yourself to their level. You're not compromising yourself, but you are maintaining your distinctive role and function, because every society, every group, every organization has roles and functions. Roles and functions. The police's role and function are different from others. It's only when you get your roles and function confused or compromised that you lose your focus, right? And I think that is what is going on. They do not have to try to prove that they are cool and regular. And no, we want to prove that they are. They're very good. They're very good. They're admitting the police have done an admirable job in catching people, in prosecuting them, getting convicted, the DP and convicting them, etc. I mean, the execution is often sorted by the law courts. But that part of it, where their detection and their catching and their prosecution, those rates are very high. We need to adopt a similar approach, high results approach to crime prevention. And this is where Kurt Humphrey comes in. I know right now he hates anybody to try to, as you say, lecture him about social policy. I'm not lecturing him. I would dare not, because I know I'm merely pointing out to him as a member of the public who has been around far longer than he has been, that he needs to come up to the plate and show what he's really worth for in this new role. I am told by some around him who said his initial I was told that they said it's alleged that his initial reaction to, man, what is going to do to me now, man? I like this thing, because this is not the more organized, structured, sedentary activity you can have with the disabled, the aged, and the children. This is a rough and tumble where anything can happen any day at any time. You cannot manage it and control it like you do. You react to other people's behavior. And you go to work every day, as Maxime would know in government, you go to work every day to deal with problems that over which you had no hand in, but it lands on your desk. You got to manage it. That is so with crime also, and therefore, I think that I would like to know if they evaluated that. I know they got the picture in the paper, etc. Waving at people, they do, and Broadsheet, etc. But has anybody sat down and done an evaluation? What were the gains? What were the benefits? Did you have a cost-benefit analysis? A cost not necessarily in terms of money, but the social cost, the impact or lack of it on society. Has anybody done that? I know you'll have to tell me, what do they think? What do they think were the gains for society, or for the police force, or especially for crime prevention out of that? How did it enhance? How did that improve? Did they get more information? Were they able to make any breakthroughs? Were they able to go after the kingpins in crime environment? What has it done for them? And this can tell me so. I think it was an embarrassing effort on the part of those who were responsible, both those within the police force if whoever came up with it was a bad idea, it should not have gone through the system. Somebody should have told them that this is not what to say. How does that sit with what the headline for the weekend nation and today's headline? It makes it as though you're not in the same society as the rest of Barbados. I'm anxious to see what they will do. I mean, it is so sad, and my heart goes out for the dear old lady and her family and her grandson. But to think that that this is happening, living in fear. That's a chilling head, living in fear. She is living in fear, but this headline not only represents her, it represents a very large segment of the people in Barbados. They're fearful, they're anxious, they're not settled, they have to look over their shoulders. I know people now don't go afraid to go to the gas station, the supermarket, women, to single women especially. So everybody now is a target and vulnerable to the crime that seems to be coming out the woodwork, that seems to be spraying out more than cane blades in Barbados anymore. And I think we've come to a very, Marcia, you're right, we've come to a very sad state in Barbados. And we need the Prime Minister to, well, maybe it's better that she doesn't get too involved, but she needs to get her people to work, to produce, to bring some answers. Otherwise, Barbadians will not forever keep waiting and hoping. There's always a tipping point. There's always a tipping point in the society, because from my readings of society and sociology, human behavior, that is my favorite area. A society is like an organism, and every living organism wants to live and thrive and succeed. That's where you get the term resilience, where everybody wants to get by and be safe and live. And societies have a way of rebounding, fighting back when they think they're under serious threat to their extinction. And I think we are at that point now. And no matter lot of sweet talk and fancy, we want plain, simple talk that we can say step by step, that we know what you're about. We can follow your logic. Tell us a path. We don't want the operational details, but give the country the assurance that you are on top of this, Minister Humphrey, as you repeatedly sought to show the country that you are on top of your other areas of responsibility. And one last thing, I think it's interesting that
just let me say, Mr. Murray, just to remind our viewers that the phone line is open, officially open, for you to call, right? Remember that, call in. So Mr. Murray is going to make his final point, and then get ready to call in. Go ahead, Mr. Murray.
I think it's very significant that January when the media in Barbados refers to Minister Humphrey, the Honourable Minister Kurt Humphrey, Minister of People Empowerment, I forget the other, some other things. Seldom ever is he referred to as Minister of Crime Prevention, like it was done with Corey Lane, right? I think, and therefore, I think he's getting a free pass because people are not automatically linking his name with crime prevention. People still see him as a social services sector minister, but crime prevention there, and he has to live up to the mandate, or the country will have to pay him and the government a price. That's my last point on that for now.
Yeah, you can hear me.
Yes, okay. We have a caller on the line, and if Dave could remind me there, I need to make mention of something that we said mentioned earlier. Somebody remind me. But go ahead, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show. It's a pleasure having you tonight. Go right ahead, caller.
Yes, good night to all the panel as well. What I want to speak to is these. I really don't know how to say this in a nice way. I think the point is that we have to understand that like what Mr. Murray said, there's a breaking point to every society. I think he's just putting it very diplomatic. The situation is that you really cannot push people to the limit because they're low socioeconomic and think that you can just ride them over because I have the power, we got the power in verticals. That is one area. The other one is if you can't, I was making a comment in the blog, if you can't fool them, set them. Now, at what stage is Barbados going to get state-of-the-art and equipment at all ports of entry? Because if the human eye is failing, to capture these guns, why can't the millions that are being spent on begathering and all sorts of frolicking and whatever it be, which is more important, lives lost or frolicking? Then I think the last point you mentioned about persons being put in a very precarious position as it relates to young boys and stuff like that, as it relates to...
You went a little lower. You went a little lower. I'm not sure what happened there.
I said the last point was the precarious situation of both men and women, or young boys and girls, being put in very precarious positions as it relates to finances, and people of power using their power to exploit them, right? So the situation where you see some people very manic and very violent in society, it is not necessarily only because this person is wild. You have to ask who or what is behind the scenes taking advantage, right? So that's just a last point. But the whole situation looking on from being outside of the country, it appears that there's a collaborative effort to simmer down or you mentioned something earlier in your program about not hearing a lot of the things that are done. For example, you're not hearing a lot of the robberies that are done. You're not hearing a lot of these things. So is it by mistake or is it intentional under-reporting? Okay, so I think those are snippets that could be spoken on or discussed.
Yes.
But I think it is time people look beyond party colors and understand that Barbados is beyond BLP, DLP, UPP, BFP, whatever. It is people first before party.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you. Right. You're always having some great contributions from the diaspora. Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All the best.
Yes. Miss McLean, any thoughts there on the caller?
Well, I wanted to go back actually to Glenn's comments about the police service, because I was trying as he was speaking to see if I could find anywhere, because I didn't I saw the headline, but I don't have the newspaper in front of me to find out what was the purpose of the exercise, because I saw a comment on Facebook where a young lady made the point that yes, the force needs some time to relax. That wasn't the word she used, but to distress. That was the word. And my question, was it to distress or was it to show that they, as Glenn said, are community, we talk about community policing and therefore of the mindset and whatever. I just thought it would make more sense to, if it is about distressing, to do something in private where they got together. We would not know as a country how many officers were off the job. But think about it. You have the kind of aggressive violence that is happening. We see so many visitors of people in communities disrespecting the police, of young men and women assaulting police, resisting arrest and all of these things, totally being disrespectful. And here you are showing the faces, I presume, of hundreds of officers. I don't know how many participated. But I just thought it, if you are saying, well, we're coming up, we've gone through a rough time because we don't get a chance to breathe with all these crimes that we're solving, and we're detaining criminals quickly and whatever. It just did not make sense to me. I have friends who are in the police service, I have observed a number of relatively young policemen on duty and former police who have died. And in talking to a late friend who was one of the latest to have left us, who was previously a member of the Barbados Police Force, as it was then, the number of persons who have chronic diseases, hypertension, and so on, probably because of the stresses of work. And those things should be addressed because as we get, the society faces more and more crime, we're getting greater pressures being put. But I couldn't understand that exercise where they're all out there. Anybody can look and say, oh, I didn't realize that John Brown, oh, he's a policeman and he may be a member of the special branch task force. You know, so I don't know who participated, but I just felt that if the intention, as I repeat my chance to distress, they could have done that in the privacy of some other kinds of arrangements where somebody may just happen to see their vehicles and say, oh, wait, there's a gathering of persons who may be police officers. But as Glenn said, you know, sometimes you have to run ideas by others to see whether that is the most suitable or most logical or sensible or beneficial option to do something, you know.
Yeah.
Yep, Marcia, if I may say,
I don't know.
Yes, just write it down, Mr. Moore. Write it down. Don't lose the thought. There's a call coming in.
okay, no problem.
Good night, caller. Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Yeah, good night to you, Marcia, and the others.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me turn down the
Thank you so much.
What I want to say is that I'm looking at class relationships in Barbados.
Mm.
Think about this. These young men are coming out of homes. I'm not sure if the criminals, the shooters or whatever, if they are from the upper middle class, working class or what. It's never stated in your newspaper, but it's generally assumed that they're from working class families.
Mm-hmm.
I have no stats. I'm just going on feelings and having lived a long life and living in different countries. I sort of come to certain conclusions. And the economy, how money is distributed, or how you pay people who gets the money and whatnot, how you produce things that may determine what the institutions are going to be, how they're going to perform, etc., etc. What we're trying to get at,
Yes,
that I consider myself working class origin, a working class person. I'm not part of a middle class elite. Where that elite is located in the institutions, civil service, whatever, whatnot. You have basically coming from class stratification. What I think is happening is that there is a fight back against this middle class elite, whether in the political parties or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fight back against them. They're from the working class people, from working class young men, or young men coming from working class families.
Okay.
Who are deprived, do not have sufficient money. How this money is distributed, who gets what and what not. And there's a general perception that, a perception, I don't know if it's true, that politicians who are part of the middle class elite are doing things and they're getting the money and we're not getting it. I think that's part of it.
Part of the perception.
But whether it's true or not, I don't know. But what it is doing, that a resentment, a terrifying resentment is building in the country. Not only the resentment comes up where conventional standards of behavior. You know, today I was thinking, and I felt so hurt that Barbados, I grew up in, I'm 86 years old. And you know, what was been going on from 1930s right up to so. And Barbados, we always had a sense, a feeling that we had some values. Probably this was a bit insular in the thinking then, that we were a little bit more conservative and not as aggressive as the other Caracom countries or whatever. And what's happened to Barbados? This is not the Barbados I knew.
Mm-hmm.
This is extremely painful as an old elderly Barbadian.
Mm.
Hmm? What is going wrong? Where is it? I believe that the onus is on the middle class to get out of their comfort zones and make connections. I was talking to a middle class person, and one of the things that he was relating to me that is happening in that upper strata, where the police seem to be handcuffed from executing what they want to do, that some calls come from higher up, from the stratosphere. So, don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
But even if that is not true, but the perception of there, what is perceived out there, that the politicians, look, this is something I felt today. I was saying to myself today, that when I look back, I thought I was conscious of political and political representation. I go back to Emmy Cox, to Brandy Adams, and many who, probably some of the men who did not even go to universities and were in Parliament. Emmy Cox, I don't think he went to university, excellent man. But this man had a dignified presence. Then you came down from Mr. Grantley to Mr. Barrow and the politicians of that era were fellows who were gentlemen, like they had a little quirks and whatnot, but you could respect it. They feel that they have to, what the word I want to use, that they have to dumb down to be effective. And what you were saying there tonight pertaining to the police cannot dumb down themselves either. So if you're dumbing down yourself, you have no authority. You have no, listen, people are crying out for Barbados, for leadership. No politician in this juncture, in our context now, should be behind me walking up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a prude or anything like that. But that when you're now assuming those of, you are a leader. You are a leader in your community. You are a leader in this. It's like asking a reverend in order to create some sort of peace in society. Look, although you're in the pulpit, no, but it is hard for you to be gyrating in Spring Garden so as to attempt to stop the aggressions and the violence that's in the country. But I will finish now. I can go on.
Yeah, but very great.
Yeah.
This is a great, very great contribution. And just before Mr. Murray comment, I just want to say to you, as an elder in the society, I really want to say thank you for calling. We hear your heart, and we hear the heart of the 80-year-olds. And the 70-year-olds in this country, and you very, very well articulated a lot of what they're feeling and saying tonight, sir. And I allowed you to talk because we want to hear from you, the elderly. Thank you so much for calling.
My pleasure. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Wow, Mr. Murray, so well articulated, very, very deep. Go right ahead.
Yeah, he went into some of it. So he gave some more details of the areas that hinted at. But first of all, Maxine would recall in 1980s, there was when people started gyrating in public more rhythmically and to more extent, almost not as extreme and almost upset as it is now. And there was a call when Dr. Elliot Parks was CEO of the NCF for bringing out a walk-up police It was said that it was who would go about and try to police and try to curb that kind of excessive gyration to the point where people were simulating sex or whatever. It was taken lightly. But now when I heard about the police on the road, I walk as well. We go from the walk up police to the police walking up.
Mm-hmm.
And on the road, police on the road, I said, why are they, why this? It reminded me of after COVID, the young people in Barbados, when they started to go and fat again, they said, we outside. It reminded me of that attitude. And the previous caller, I mentioned about the institutions, but what we have seen, and I'm in the 80s also, right? So I know what he's talking about, where he mentioned Emmy Cox was a taxi driver, self-educated, who was one of the most competent ministers Barbados has ever produced. Self-taught, self-read, but a self-made man. But that apart, what we are seeing now, when I saw what happened with the police,
yes,
as the latest institution to go through, he mentioned dumbing down. I can also call it where you're painting the lowest common denominator. Where you feel you have to bring down your standards and your behavior and your culture that to make yourself kind of popular with the ordinary man in the street. You make the ordinary man feel like you have to degrade and lower yourself just to be in sync with him. And I think that is what you have. All the institutions in Barbados you can think of, all have been downgraded. Some deliberately because people want to be what they call populism. Is where you simplify and dumb down and make things so easy to think that life is easy, and you try to the poor man, the small man, who feels being left out, or I will take care of you, etc. That is part of the problem. Where standards no longer. And one last thing, in a society,
because we have a caller on the line.
I just in a minute, it's half a minute. In a society, there are two sets of standards. They're the ideal standards where you're supposed to aim to, like the Ten Commandments. Ideal standards and all thou shalt not kill, etc. And then there are what sociologists call the statistical norms, where when even though you aim and aspire and you about the ideal norm, on the ground something else is about what's called statistical norm. So that is the clash between. But if you therefore abandon the ideal norm, if you abandon the higher standards, what you're left is pure degradation.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Well said. We have another caller on the line, but I'm seeing here that the police are on the scene at Eden Lodge in St. Michael, where at least one man has been shot and transported by ambulance to the QEH. According to Starcom Network, the shooting occurred on Sorrel Lane, where a masked assailant opened fire, striking the victim multiple times. Wow. So this is what is happening while we are speaking. Let's get our caller in. Good night, caller. This is a familiar voice. Can't wait to have you on the show again. Go right ahead, caller.
Well, good night, Marcia, and to Glenn and Maxie and the whole team of the loyal opposition.
Yes, sir.
I have been listening up to what is going on for quite some time, and I think what our major problem in Barbados is that there is no statesmanship or statecraft in Barbados. That's our biggest problem.
Can you repeat what you said?
There is no statesmanship or statecraft in Barbados. When you examine, or when you examine the behavior of the Prime Minister, for example, down on Bashiba on Labor Day, and so on and so forth, that is not an example of statesmanship. And there is no statecraft in Barbados. That's one. Two, there is no vision for Barbados. The government does not have a clear and well-defined vision Barbados and Barbadian. That's number 2. Number 3, we need to manage migration into Barbados. Because in growing up in Barbados, we never had this type of situation. We never had it. But as we expand and we become more cosmopolitan, people are coming in with a different cultural perspective and different attitudes.
Yes.
And their primary motive is to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And as a nation, we need to manage migration into Barbados so that we can control our country.
Mm-hmm.
We also need to proclaim an Alien Landholding Act to prevent foreigners from coming in, buying up vast acreage of land, and then holding it for a short while and then selling it to another friend and all that kind of thing. When we sell Barbados out, what are the young men in Barbados? And I had a discussion with quite a few of them recently, and they are concerned and worried about the fact that too much of our land is being sold to foreigners. And you may very well have a connection between the sale of land and crime and violence in Barbados. And another thing we need to do, remember that the economy in Barbados was developed by English people for English people, right? The English, they were scavenging the earth, looking for land and resources and so on and so forth. So Barbados and the economy in Barbados was developed by the English for the English. No consideration was given to us African people. And therefore, we need to invoke and pursue a Black nationalist approach to economic development. And for too long, economic development have been surrounded by the ruling class, which was the English or the white class, the planter class, so to speak. But we need to develop a Black nationalist approach to economic development in Barbados. And finally, Marcia,
Yes.
just before I retired from the probation department as a probation officer, I remember once Wednesday, I was in charge of the intake, and a young man came into me. He was the very last young man that came into me, and I listened to him, spoke with him, and when he left me, he left with, he walked as though he had the whole world on his back. And I rapped back in my chair. I said, what can I really do to help these young men? And instantly I got an idea. The challenges and responsibilities of manhood. I think if Barbados and if the government and if we as a nation can really focus in on what the challenges of the young men, what are they challenged by? And then if we can help them to understand what the responsibilities of manhood are, I think we can solve the crime problem in Barbados. But it takes leadership. And right now, we do not have no leadership in Barbados.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Newton. I think everybody should know that voice. Very interesting comments that you've made there. And I'm taking notes of what you're, I'm sure, and I see Miss McLean taking notes as well. So Miss McLean, thank you so much for calling, Nigel. God bless you. Miss McLean will make a comment. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Marcia, I agree with Mr. Newton. I think we have what's the word I want? We have to be able to demonstrate by example. And when I say we, people who find themselves in leadership position, the kind of standards, the values that we consider important. We have to provide the role models, the imaging, the support to change. But Barbados seems to be going down a road where almost anything goes. And it is like a child. If I go back to and that's a wild, to when my son was a toddler, we talk about the terrible twos. Children seek to push the boundaries to see how far you would go, to pull them back, and I think that if we don't have the kinds of models to emulate, I recently heard or read in a comment where somebody was saying, well, you can't tell adults what to do. I wouldn't refer to the specific what to do reference that was made, but I disagree, because at the end of the day, we still have, as a country, if I bring it back to the society, to have a sense of what we want to subscribe to in terms of values, standards, etc. And that is one of the reasons when we start to talk about our young males. I have been observing our boys during school hours, at the end of the day, in particular when they've left school, they're on the road waiting for public transportation, walking to and from the school and so on. And I'm asking myself, why is it that with a uniform, we're saying almost anything goes? To me, a uniform is supposed to suggest, as the word says, some kind of standard, uniformity, etc. But it is as though you do what you like, it is okay. And so the world has to accept you as you are, with no limitations, to all intents and purposes. And the question is, what does that do to the psyche of a young person? As he or she goes out into the world to engage other people, whether it's in the workplace, or whatever the case may be. And I am raising those because I'm trying to grapple with what could be the genesis, what are the explanations for the deviance that we're seeing now, and how do we understand that as a means of starting to pull it back? I think when I listen to Mr. Newton, those are some of the questions that come to my mind as I responded, as I thought through the questions he raised, the comments he made about the absence of statesmanship, no vision for Barbados. And a vision for Barbados should not only be about economics and so on, it should also be about values, quality of life, and a whole set of things, what we should be like as citizens. So I think those are critical.
It's critical. And we're just, this thing about young men, and you and I, we share that passion. You have a son, I have 3. And I remembered Mr. Murray, and I'm going to say a word that I don't know if it's going to be too bad for me to say it, but I have to say it the way it was put in the video. There was a young man who was standing, it was like he was at his house, Mr. Murray, and he was counting some money. And he said, it looks like he's in his 30s or late 20s, and he was very angry, and he was cursing and saying, y'all were talking about us doing drugs and gang banging and whatever, and think the only way we can survive in this country is that we will have to sell drugs, we have to gang bang, or we have to bull. Okay, I am speaking raw. I know.
No, that was what I heard it.
Don't write me.
I heard it. I'm shaking my head about the options. That's why I was shaking.
Did you heard the video?
Yes, I did.
And we need to, this is what we've been saying. I'm right here hearing about another young man by people employed in government, and because I can't call the names, who was molested, Mr. Murray. And we are blaming these young men. How many of those young men dead of the 21 might have been raped by other men because they're trying to go ahead?
More than once.
You understand? So this thing with the people in the LGBTQ community, this is something you all need to look into. A lot of the young men who are that persuasion are being taken advantage of.
Marcia, I think what we have to understand
Caller,
that
I'm coming to you, caller. Go ahead.
yeah, that these people are often groomed as part of the exploitation. You raise them, you groom, you pamper them, and you in that sense seduce them into a way of life which they might not normally have gone into. That's the reality, right? And that apparently has become so. Both that and lesbianism have become rampant into society. You talk about the male homosexual, about the female homosexuality too.
I know, Mr. Murray, but I want to interject something here that we, a lot of times, Mr. Murray, we focus so much on what's happening with the women, and we see we're not, and I agree with you, but I'm just saying that we really need to start to think about some of what is going on with our young men. You know what I mean? Yes.
But I know of some cases of people of lesbians who have recruited males into behavior. So it's not just men and women; they operate together, etc., etc., etc. Right? So it is a connection between the two because they cater to a similar lifestyle.
Yes, understood. Caller, welcome to the Marcia Week Show. Good night, sir. Go right ahead. Thank you.
Welcome to the Royal Opposition.
Yes.
Marcia, good night. In 1994, a book was introduced to the schools for devotion, the Book of Values. In my view, that was the first attempt to undermine the foundation of this country by when the school had already school Bibles in the school. This book was introduced to the school and telling the schools to use it at devotion. So what would he do with the Bible that were already in the schools?
What year was that? What year was that, sir? You said the year and it slipped me.
Hello?
What year did that Book of Values?
I believe it was around 93, 94.
Because I have a book here that somebody gave me and they said that, it sounds about, okay, go ahead.
And that set the tone for undermining the foundation of this nation.
Okay.
That you remember what happened in school when something was written up and then it bring a big commotion, and all of that came in. Now this minister, our prime minister, is in control. We make noise, we quarrel about the book, and it gets squashed. We as a people, obviously, our nation is a God-fearing nation. So if we have Bibles in the school, and you bring another book that is not a Bible, is another book, and telling the schools to use it for devotion, you are looking to break up the foundation of this nation. And that's what we're having today. That's my view.
Interesting. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Okay. Mr. Murray?
Yeah. Both Nigel and previous caller mentioned leadership. I remember talking about the lowest common denominator and not maintaining stern leadership. And somebody mentioned about the Prime Minister on the East Coast Road. I remember that at the East Coast Road last picnic, a song was introduced about selling fat pork. I think it was a song by Peter Ram.
Peter Ram,
It was not even offensive. It was just a poor attempt at trying to no double and taunting that. It was just a I saw the Prime Minister when he introduced the crowd, and the Prime Minister and Santa Barbara sneaking a laugh at one another. I mean, it was junk, and it was a combination. It was not only poor, but it's a poor in worse taste. So when you have those kind of standards, being you shouldn't be surprised at what happens. But then something on crime. I am thinking when you were talking about that shooting and etc. tonight, you did not even mention unless you mentioned when I missed it, the gas station robbery, etc. tonight. There was an activity there, but I feel
really tonight?
Yeah, there was a gas station robbery.
Hello.
Yes.
Tonight.
Good night, caller. Just welcome. Just give us half a minute, and we're going to put you on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I feel that, and they talk about mask, man. I feel that we've reached a point in crime now. In the same way, we have banned camouflage clothing, and the world did not come to end because you do not want people imitating the defense force. I think it has worked well for us. I feel we should ban. There are already law against wearing masks. I feel we should ban hoodies. I believe hoodies should be prohibited from coming because all them. What we don't need hoodies in Barbados, really. What it is not a vital item of clothes. I feel that those should be banned, so that you get a better chance of identifying people when they are perpetrating their evil deeds. Ban hoodies, and you say you've banned the wearing of masks. Ban hoodies.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Murray. We do have a caller on the line. Caller, good night and welcome to the Marcia Week Show. Go right ahead.
Good night, Marcia, and to the panel.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
I think Marcia, we have missing this point,
Yes, sir.
We are missing a lot of things here. In this country, we have revelry and partying. That's number one. What the young people is seeing is they believe that everything was given to them free. And in the way this country is going, Marcia, we are going down a slippery slope. And many people do not see it. Now, our point is that, like what you're saying is the paper, Marcia, there are many people out there who are frightened. And the point is that we are going down, many people would not believe it, but we are going down, Marcia, to be a police state. You see what is happening now with the party, the marijuana, the smoking, the marijuana, Marcia, you can't ride on a bus, you cannot go on nowhere, and people saying don't blame the marijuana smoking. But if you look at it, Marcia, from the time you introduce these things, what the young people head is getting hot, and we having this party, this shooting, and so on. And then you have a set of people at the top who has all the funds. And the young people, there's no work for some of the young people. Marcia, when some people go to prison, we need to separate the old prisoners from the new ones. And when all this party and so on going on, Marcia, we are going down, we are looking at the police state. Take, for instance, what just happened in the Pine. Now, the police has a job to do. But when we get this going this way, you see, this is going down the road to involve a state of emergency so that we become locked down. And we need to discuss this here. We need to keep our heads up.
Yes.
And avoid this here, because then when you have a state of emergency, you declare a state of martial law, where you bring in the defense force along with the police.
Yeah.
And you control the people. Because all you got to remember that a lot of these people was around Carnival and so on around the university. And this is, we have all this partying effect. And we need to guide our young people and discuss with them where we come from and to where we are going. And a lot of people don't want to do this, but I would like to hear Glenn and Ms. McLean on this. I would like to see a state of emergency, but I know we're going down that road and to be a police state. And a lot of people don't like to say that we're going down the road to be a police state, But this, from my thing in all my years of living, I have never seen Barbados got so tied up and so many murders, so many criminal fear. People fear to leave home at night. You can't go anywhere. As you said one time, you could leave your house open till 10, 11 o'clock. You could leave and go to town. The next door neighbor will come and pick up your clothes and put them in for you. And you won't have no fear. But today, now everybody's locked down. We have we had the state of water, and you're living in a house, your home becomes a prison.
Mm.
And Marcia, this is driving. I went to Jamaica in 1996,
Yes.
and I saw actually every house in Jamaica had water.
Yes, sir.
And I was in a part of the what was considered the part of the built-up area. I went into Kingston and saw beggars laying on the street, and you couldn't even keep them. And Barbados was one of the role models in the Caribbean.
Yes.
But today we are the laughing stock of the Caribbean. Look at what just happened to the Excom Bank. And people are saying, boy, they have money. But you see, we gave away our land. I know you see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to hear some discussion from Mr. Murray as an old statesman, old politician. And
Oh,
Mr.
Lord
Cruz.
have mercy.
Thank you very much.
Miss McLean as a young stateswoman. All right. So, okay. Thank you so much, caller. Thank you. Thank you. Always good to hear from the senior citizens. I mean, I love to hear from them because that's a drive for us all.
But
Oh, the calls are coming in. A quick comment, Mr. Murray.
no, I just want to say before it slips me, that we've been talking about the misbehaviors, the fall in standards, the behavior of the young males. But I am told from very good sources that there's also a section of the Barbadian female population which is known as the Dubai posse. The Dubai posse who operate, the young Barbadian women who operate on the West Coast and specialize in realizing the sexual and other fantasies of people from the Middle East. You know, you can't drink UAE, so they come down to Barbados and cater to what is known on the street as the Dubai posse. So it's happening at all levels of the society.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Good night, caller.
Blessed good night to you, Marcia.
Yes, good night.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Marcia Week Show.
Thank you so very much. Blessed good night to the panel as well.
Yes.
One of the things that I am looking at, because I posted something on Facebook. I'm not a prophet,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe that if we look at the things that are happening in this country, we can really see it going from, I would say, from bad to worse.
Yes.
And if things are supposed to be all good in the finance,
mm-hmm.
Why is there a rise in crime? You know, one of the things that I'm looking at though is the disrespect. This is one word that I'm looking at. There is a disrespect of the populace, and if those that are in authority disrespect the populace, put legislation without discussion, giving and selling state land without a statement from the statesmen. This is disrespect. We see disrespect of even the police by the government, and I'm talking about open, known disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see disrespect to even the republic itself. I mean, it wasn't our idea that we be a republic. Like, we had no discussion as far as that was concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But we became a republic. You know, where is the active constitution that we were told? All we're hearing about is laws about Tint, laws about ID,
mm-hmm.
but no laws on. We don't hear about the constitution. We don't hear about all different kind of things that like, for instance, integrity legislation, you know. And this is what I call disrespect. No, you don't know me to be a prophet, but if both of us see a big set of clouds, rain clouds on the horizon, and I tell you that rain is going to come, would you call me a prophet?
Not really.
Okay, but we are seeing disrespect in all areas. And I am telling you, I'm not a prophet, but if the country continues on this trajectory, we are going to see a lot of dangers, and I believe it has already happened in every ministry that this country has. The Ministry of Finance, you're going to see a lot of financial dangers coming there. Health, at least we already heard about the down at the geriatric hospital, but there's going to be more coming. We're going to have environment. We see oil being spilled. You know, we had issues with water, but we're going in every ministry. I believe we're going to suffer some serious blows. Security, housing, environment, you name it. Every ministry is going to feel the impact of the disrespect that is being cast down on the populace. And you know why I believe the whole thing came about? To one thing, and that is no integrity. I look at the word integrity. Integrity means adherence to moral and ethical principles. This administration have fallen when it comes to moral and ethical principles. And I'm not being political. I'm being straightforward.
Yes.
You know, and unless there is a turnaround, as I said, we are going to suffer a lot of losses in every ministry that our country has.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, very well said. Very well said. Glad to hear you calling tonight. Very well said. Let me hear Miss McLean. Miss McLean, this caller, anything you want to add to or expound on? And then we have one last call for the night. Go right ahead.
No, I think the callers have been expressing, as did the last caller, some serious concerns about the direction in which we're going. As sense is that a lot of people see and understand what is going wrong. What we seem not to be able is to find the kinds of approaches to address these things in a serious way. Because there are, I call them contradictions in what we see the people charged with the responsibility of addressing these problems. So if we get contradictions, then we're going to continue on the road that we're, well, to large extent on that the road we're on, because to use a Bajan expression, who's going to call back home? And I think the people in authority, and in this case, the primary responsibility, those in political authority, have to understand that when they examine what's going on in Barbados, there is, to my mind, no serious attempt at several levels to alter the situation. I mean, when we think in terms of illegal activity that leads to crime, criminal violence, murders and so on are not occurring in isolation. Those things are very much tied in to illegal substances, trafficking of drugs, and so on. And and so if those things are allowed to happen, then we see the violence that comes along with it. For example, if our young people are being exploited because they see that, as you referred to the comment of one young man, if they see that the only way that they can quote unquote survive is to engage in certain negative behaviors and criminal activity, that it is more profitable to do that than to pay attention to finding, what I would call legitimate or traditional jobs, or acquiring certain basic skills and so on, then we can anticipate that we will continue to see the level of crime and worse.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Miss McLean. We have Rose Corbin on the line. Mrs. Corbin, can you hear me? It's saying unstable connection. Okay, let's see if we can. Can you? Yes. Okay, go right ahead, Mrs. Corbin. And let me just let you know she will be on tomorrow night. And tomorrow night is going to be hot. Dr. Ferdinand, Mrs. Corbin will be on, and others to continue this discussion. But go ahead, Mrs. Corbin.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, Rose.
Hi, good evening.
One, just quickly, that police on wine or whatever it was, from my reading, I got the impression, no, it was part of the NCF launch for crop over blind. So that is, they were ill-advised, I believe, by whomever to participate in that way for the NCF launch, and it ended at Freedom Square, Freedom Park, with a police band-led collector party. So that's where it is heading. But why I called Glenn, I got really excited when I heard you talking about the tipping point. The tipping point. And I bought that book about 20 years ago, actually. The tipping point, how little things can make a big difference. Is that what you were referring to, that book?
Yeah, written by Malcolm Gladwell. I think it was the author.
Yes, written by him. And I remember that I just want to say, Glenn, from my observation and from what I would have read, that we have passed the tipping point on most things right here in Barbados now. It was coming, but I don't believe that we're tipping anymore. I believe that we're toppled.
Oh, wow.
Do not call me a pessimist. I have great hope for my country, and I believe that things can turn around or can be reversed if we want to look at it that way. But they talk about the last decade, but over the last couple of months, not even years, we have seen things just tipping and toppling, and they have toppled every day. We're seeing things toppling in Barbados. And for those, and let's remind ourselves quickly, what is the tipping point? It refers to small changes that can trigger rapid and widespread shifts in behavior, trends, and ideas. And we have seen the shift now from small to daring to elaborate to sophisticated to bold to indifferent. They're no longer small changes, but we're seeing this rapid and widespread shift in behavior and in trends. And I'm going to pick up two things that I believe would have contributed to that. The law of the few is cited in that book, one concept, that a small number of influential people can have a disproportionate impact on social change. The law of the few. And similar, another one is the power of context. Context, how the environment and circumstances can influence behavior and outcome. And we're seeing the impact of the environment and circumstances and the type of leadership or lack thereof of leadership that we can point to that we can say are influencing behavior and outcome. So I just want to come in on that one.
Yes.
And I don't know if you remember, Glenn, and I'm going to wrap up here. Then in about 2002, 2003, when the Sir David Simmons had set up the Justice Improvement Program with funds from IADB, and Hallam King was appointed the director, and I was hired from stringent job searches, Barbados and otherwise, to be the first Justice Improvement Civil Society coordinator. And that was, I remember sharing that book at my interview, and that program was to reach out into civil society and engage before we reach that tipping point. Now we've toppled. There's a history behind that why that program
what came into being.
Continued.
Yeah. Well, Mrs. Corbin, thank you for that contribution. And I know you're going to continue with this on the program tomorrow, because we're going to continue down this line talking about the crime in the country. Thank you so much, ma'am, for calling. God bless you.
Thank you too.
Yes, thanks. Okay, folks, it is 10:07, and we've had you on for a long time. And I just want to use the opportunity to remind everybody, folks, there's a march on Saturday. The march on Saturday, as we said, is way much more than saying we don't believe in this Tint law. It's way past that. We're asking for real change, real reform, real laws, real strategies. We're asking for tough laws. We want to hear. We want to know. We want to see what you're doing. We are our march on Saturdays and allow to say to the government, we are not comfortable. We are afraid to live in this country. That's what the march on Saturday is about. And we want some real policies. Real legislation is what we're looking for. No gimmicks and games. That's what Saturday is about. We're starting at Kensington Oval. And from there, we go right to our same route. We go right to Independence Square. Very serious march. We're not going to be walking up behind no truck. This is a serious march, because this is a life and death situation for us in this country. So Saturday at 10 o'clock, all roads lead to Kensington Mall. That's where we start.
I will not fear
What should people wear?
can do to me.
Marcia, what should people wear? What's the recommend? What color should they wear?
What should people wear? I usually try to take the guys. If you think we need to wear a particular color,
White is always safe. White. Wear white.
Yes, white or black, one of them.
Right,
so they
okay.
can tell me. Tell me in the comment section, folks, what you think we need to wear. I try to, even with the marches, I listen to what they're telling me. Right, and so Mr. Murray is suggesting a color.
Gives it group identity. It stands out more. Makes people feel they're sharing the same objectives and behavior. So that's the importance of having that would be the uniform for the march.
Yes.
Yeah,
so we're gonna hear from people. Put it in the comment section. What colors do you want to wear? Somebody said Barbados colors. Somebody said white. So put it in as the song. Not song. I think Dave has a speech to play before we somebody said wear tint.
Wear tint. I like that. Interesting.
Lord, I tell you, in the midst of the seriousness, people will make joke, you know.
We need it. We need it to bring relief.
We need to bring relief. Yes. All right. Okay, folks. Thank you for joining tonight, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Yes, Mr. Murray.
I need one last comment to make.
Yes.
Several callers tonight made reference to the lack of leadership in Barbados. I believe they mean at the political and the institutional level. And it dawned on me that some months ago, I made reference to the appointment for the first 2 spiritual advisors to the government of Barbados, to the cabinet. I don't see any evidence of their work. They're either not working or their work is not being appreciated and listened to. What should they be making an impact on the society too, because they're being paid by taxpayers unless they get fired? I'd like to hear more about the fate of the spiritual advisors, the first spiritual advisors appointed to the government of Barbados. What is their role?
Yes. Very important point there. Very important point. And I realized with you doing that, I didn't ask you guys to give your, we normally do a short comment.
Right,
Thank you, Mr. Murray.
No problem.
Yes, I forgot about that. Miss McLean, you'll have the final word.
Yeah, what I would want to say, this was at the heart of my comments, has to do with the necessity to address the situation of I call them two broad vulnerable groups in Barbados, the elderly, and we're seeing that manifested in the kinds of criminal activity targeting older people and our young people. We have a lot of at-risk young people, and as you said, I've identified young men and boys for particular reasons, and you shared part of it. We are not coming up with any fiction. And when we ignore damage that is done, emotional, physical, psychological, etc., to any group of our community, and certainly to the young men in a country, we're opening up ourselves for the kinds of what I call reactions, almost, the level of alienation that arises from that, the destruction that it does, and it leads to further destruction. But overall, we have to look at tackling crime beyond looking to the police to solve criminal activity and bring perpetrators before the courts. I wouldn't even say to justice, because I don't know at this point how many young people we have, how many young men we have in Dodge serving, on remand for murder, etc. And that is absolutely necessary, because when we start to look at that, to me, a lot of this is at the heart of other problems which we will get to talk about in the future.
Yes, very well said. That's heavy on my heart. And as I said, as we are talking tonight, I just could not believe what came into my phone again about what some of these officials are doing to young men, young poor boys in this country. It would make you vomit, really, what is happening. But folks, we close tonight, and we will tell you by tomorrow. You hear me? I'm right. We will tell you by tomorrow night what the colors are, because I know you will message me, and we'll come to a consensus on it. Thank you all so much for joining. Please continue to pray, those who pray, and let's believe for something and do the action. Get out on Saturday. It's not just a prayer. Let's get out to the protest march. Go ahead, Dave. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Mr. Murray. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
God bless you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Things are not the way they used to be. What a substantial malfunction in community. Everybody checking for themselves, who in power, hungry, craving wealth. Some of them don't care if them get it at the expense of someone else. Serious error in society, and a crucial breakdown within the family. Brother, hate, sister, I can't believe parent and child come big enemies. community spirit. Can't believe no Nintendo overrule marble cricket. I'm sorry to know youngsters can build box art or set fly stick. Don't tell me so. Them put down got the perk and pick up the matic. And I don't know what it is corrupting me, but mashing up culture so gradually. And that's not how my Barbados used to be. Give me back them old remedies that we had from long time granny. And let me bring back Barbados how it used to be. Responsibility, cause the children lost respect for the elderly. One time if you ever walk the street past an older person and don't speak, by time you get home mama got your tail on heat. You and them in the cliques. Folks are not the same in the village. What a rapid change in the way we used to live. We used to live so loving before, cause if me larder had to run low, I could have borrowed saltfish from next door. But neighbors don't socialize no more. I said, oh no, where have we gone wrong? Teachers and pupils in dispute, and hardback men molesting the youth. Your back a walkless crew. Oh no, where have we gone wrong? Fast food got cooked on mute. Well, last you eat a piece of roast breadfruit. Man, don't tell me so. Violence on TV got half of we be rich. Can't believe though. Youngster want shoot, no he can't even pitch. I'm sorry to know. Girls don't play picks up them band Chinese skip. Don't tell me so. Them prefer PlayStation called Pokemon on it. I don't know what it is corrupting me, but mashing up culture so gradually. And that's not how my Barbados used to be. Back them old remedies that we had from long time granny. And let me bring that Barbados how it used to be. My gosh. Cause you know we losing our pride in industry. Through the years we cut and we contrive and struggle so damn hard to survive. Now you're pushing culture one side. Everybody want me Americanized. Local products Bajans reject. I love people things bad them more than can accept. Even in Calypso if you check, man a good semi-finals I can't get. Why the locals tell them neglect, like them have a problem with dialect. I said, oh no, where have we gone wrong? Agriculture getting so poor. Nobody don't plant kitchen garden no more, like them did before. Oh no, where have we gone wrong? Beji gone foreign and switch, and come back and play he don't know black bitch. And don't tell me so. Some Bajans never see a bearded fig tree. Can't believe though that cassava gets so damn scarce and skimpy. I'm sorry to know the bobcat push away all the dunks and gooseberry. Don't tell me so. No way junk I saw man want phrase like training. I don't know what it is corrupting me, but mashing up culture so gradually. And that's not how my Barbados used to be. Give me back them old remedies that we had from long time granny. And let me bring back Barbados